Hi, this is my attempt to type Jamie Lee Curtis ahead of the next OPS class, and I think I'll just go straight into it with the clips. So here we have the first. I'm going to use this typer tool, although this isn't the same order that the coins jumped out at me, but I'm just going to follow it anyway because it's good practice, I think. So I have a clip of her demonstrating, I think, which one of these she is. Particularly, mentions of the points of view. So let's have a look at this one.
I can tell you that when I'm with a child, I feel more comfortable than I am ever with an adult. And I have always, since I was a little girl, always gotten to the perspective of the child. I will lay down on the floor and look up at the world as my child sees the world. Like, for instance, I would just right now sit and talk to you down here.
Well, let's do that.
But the idea is this is what my 2-year-old sees.
And now, do you see me differently? No,
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, and it's a very good study for any parent, is get down to a child's person and then have your spouse or other person make an angry face. And you will see how terrifying an angry face looking down. I mean, it's hard enough if a parent gets angry face to face. But when a child is small and that energy is perpetrated down on them, it is something I've thought about always. So it's natural for me to have written children's books. I think, without ever having a plan, I didn't know I was going to do it. It just is something that I'm good at, and I do, and I'm just thrilled, to be honest, that HarperCollins and Joanna Kotler, gave me the opportunity to do it. I wouldn't have had a voice had they not.
Well, you're one.
So I think that's very interesting. So you see her literally putting herself down there on the floor to emulate a different point of view. So I thought that was probably the best, most obvious clip that I could find of her doing that. So what I'm going to do is move on to the next. I'm going to select DE, and then we're on to the next coin. So we've established, or I think I've established, I shouldn't just use one clip, but I'm kind of, if I don't just shit this video out, it's never going to get made, and I'm still learning the software. So we'll move swiftly on to this particular coin. So are they a DE observer or a DE decider? So I have a clip prepared for that, so I shall play that shortly. So this clip is from the Kevin Pollak chat show. This was a great interview. This was probably the best interview of Jamie that there is on the internet. And here she's been asked a question by one of her celebrity friends. I think it was Drew Carey. And she's been asked, what practice or belief that you've learned later in life did you wish you'd learned earlier? And so just to go back to this for a second, this is basically because we've established, or again, I think I've tried to establish that she's DE. Is this an IJ or an EJ? That's another way of thinking of it. So I shall play this clip and we'll see what she has to say.
There's a great phrase in recovery that says compare and despair. And And I got to tell you, I am the comparer. I will compare myself to other people and be in despair every second. And it has taken me a very, very long time to know who I am.
So that is, I think, a major tell that she is actually DE decider. So she is an EJ, because what she's just described is the EJ situation, comparing herself to others and not knowing herself. So there's another little bit on this particular video which is very important for typing her, which I shall play next. I just, like, as a brief aside, I wanted to include this little clip of Kevin because I think it illustrates the difference between DEs and DIs, especially the deciders. So we've been told before by Dave and Shan that Kevin is, I think they said that he's an ISTP, and we'll just hear his perspective.
I mean, I think this is what made reality television what it is. We're right back at the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah,
You were comparing ourselves to them. We watch Jersey Shore because they're idiots. I'm not that stupid. These people are morons.
Oh, that's funny. You see, his perspective is he's above the people that he's looking at, and he's comparing them and seeing that he is better than them. Whereas the EJ is, like Jamie, is comparing people, and her conclusion is that they are better than her, and that's the EJ struggle, you see. So I thought that was interesting just to throw in as an aside.
So I think it is in the human psyche to compare and then despair.
Yeah, so I just added that little bit there. The funny thing is, you see, he completely doesn't understand what Jamie's really talking about here, because what Kevin is saying is he's looking at people and he's despairing at how much dumber they are than he is, which isn't the point that Jamie's making at all. But anyway.
I'll tell you now, if, God forbid, I was, ill and I went home and had a very short amount of time to kind of close up shop, the amount of time that I spent thinking that I wasn't good enough.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of time that I thought that someone else was better,
Right.
was what I would give for that time. The amount of time of that
Wasted energy.
wasted comparison to other people
Yeah.
would be, I would beg, I would plead, I would do anything to get it back. And
Okay, so that's very interesting. This is like the major thing. In fact, this is about the point in how shall I say this? This is the most upset she gets, and this is like the only clip I found of her crying. And that's a good thing, because I don't want her to cry. So the fact that she doesn't cry much in the clip, or hardly at all, just this once, I'm pleased for that. But that's really the thing, like feeling not good enough. Again, that is the EJ story. That's the Achilles heel of the EJ. And with that, I think I'm happy to move on and select D Decider. Okay, so the next coin we're looking for is she OI or OE? So it's basically, are they a blast first EJ or a play first EJ? So I shall get the clip queued up and then we'll play it. Now, I didn't actually have a really good clip for this one, but I think that typically the reason is that it's just something that's peppered throughout a person's conversation, so you'll just see lots of different examples. If you watch, like the Kevin Pollak interview, if you watch that, you'll just see her repeatedly changing channels and just coming out with a random person, naming a person that she knows, and like talking about them as a way of expressing or as a way of answering the question. But this is a fun little example of how she channel changes.
What's this movie going to do for you, you think, as far as your future?
My dog will eat for a month, probably. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Are you going to get 7 scripts for future Hooker Parks?
I've gotten one, and I've turned it down. I don't know. I can't say. I can't judge it. I'm very bad at judging what will come next.
So, I mean, I've sort of skipped ahead a little bit here, but what's the kind of... I guess I included that little bit there because it seems like it's not NI if she's got intuition, but she's saying that she has trouble seeing ahead. So yeah, I'm kind of fudging this one a little bit, but and this may be a mistake on my part to do that. But anyway, we'll go here. Okay, so the next one then is FE or TE. So I think the same interview here is actually what I'm going to use, and I'm going to find the moment in it where I think she talks pretty well about the difference between TE and FI here. And, well, I mean the difference between TE and FE. So she's been asked how she would describe herself in a few phrases, and so this is the end of that particular answer, and it leads into the next question.
Real sensitive. Cute as a button. And real sensitive again.
All right, with sensitive, how do you handle criticism?
Not well. I haven't had too much, so I haven't had to deal with that and find out really how well I deal with it. I hope that I don't develop that cynic anger, you know, sort of like jaded, sort of like tough as nails attitude. I cry. Somebody yells at me, I cry. I don't think I'd ever work with a director who could, you know how some directors are known to yell at you. I would cry. I would just look at them and just lose it.
Have critics beat up on you in your scary movies, or if they say in this movie that you're a hooker and you kind of had a meaningless part, how would that? If someone said that to you, you didn't. You were great. But if someone said that, would you cry, or would you want to go hunt them down and beat them up?
No, that I'd hunt them, and I'd debate them.
Okay, so I think this is very, very illustrative, very telling, that you see the difference, and the difference in her body language.
And I'd say,
what I interpret this as is she's got FI. She's talking about FI when it's directed at her personally, because of course FI is her internal decider, introverted decider function, and she's saying that if someone attacked her personally, then she would get very upset and she would kind of crumble and cry. But if they attacked something that was kind of not personal to her, but the part that she played, after all, that part would still exist if a different actress had been cast. So it's kind of a little bit detached from her personally. And what does she say? She says, "I would debate them," which is a very T kind of thing. So it's looking like, and she sort of gets more confident in her way of expressing herself when she talks about this. So I'm taking this to mean that she has, of course, she's an EJ. We've already got that far. So is this TE or FE? I think it's TE, and you've seen the flip side. You've seen her talk about her FI coin on the flip side of that TE as well.
Wise is a meaningless part, and so on. I'll get my dander up. I'll fight him with the best of them. It's just that.
Don't want to skip ahead too much, but seeing a bit of masculinity there in the TE.
I meant more criticism, personal criticism, and like, she stinks. I think that would probably evoke some sort of salty stuff coming out of my eyes. I think I would probably cry.
I'm selecting this one. Okay, so the next one then is, are they TENE or TESE? Now, this has already been done for us because the clue this week, the hint, was not saviour sensory. So they have to be TENE. So, I mean, this is actually a good thing from the point of view of typing them, because it's made it a lot easier, because I don't think I would have guessed or got that they were saviour intuitive. Jamie Lee, was saviour intuitive. I would probably have said that they were saviour SI, because this is what I thought when I first started watching her, that the SI, there's masculine, I'll just say it now, there was what I thought very punchy, very solid SI hitting you in the face, and I thought, well, if they're saviour intuition, then it's got to be at least like SI has to be second in the grant stack, but as a demon they've got to be a jumper, because that's the only way they could possibly have SI as strong as it is but still be an intuitive. That was my reasoning. Reasons. So I'm going to just go ahead now and select this one, and it's looking good for me, because one of my biases was that, and I didn't disclose this at the beginning, but one of my biases was I've wanted them to do another TENE for some time, because they haven't done one since Mark Sisson over here, and that was quite some time ago. And typically, I mean, it's nice when there's someone, they're typing someone and you like them a lot. I want someone like this to be on my team, as it were, and for me to be able to say, I'm a bit like Jamie Lee Curtis, her and I have similar personalities, so that's how good I am. And so what I'm going to do at this point, I think I'll stop at this particular coin, and then I shall make a part 2 tomorrow, and so this, hopefully I got all these right up to this point, and I shall make another one after this, and I'll upload this to YouTube so people can see it.